probably most of you couldn't buy the tickets for so many reasons, but Jiggs Thorne is here with us on the show, on the program, on the live broadcast of the show to tell us more of what has been happening so far in the festival. Jiggs, welcome.
Pure.
Yeah. You must be tired, hey?
Wow, it's pure adrenaline. You know, we live on adrenaline in these spaces. We're driven by passion to create, to gather people. This is one of Africa's most celebrated festival events taking place
much
in Mahlanya.
anticipated, most celebrated.
Most celebrated. It's definitely our 17th. You said probably it's 17th, our 17th edition. And we're growing up as an event. I certainly feel there have been less issues this year.
Okay.
The festival's grown tenfold. We've expanded the arena. We've invested into permanent infrastructure. We've centered on trying to improve the festival goer experience. This is paramount for us. You know, people keep coming back. They come for the all-round experience. But how do we improve on what we've done before? Well, we elevate the festival goer experience, and we make sure that everybody, you know, has a great takeaway, and a lot of that has to do with, you know, access. You're getting your wristbands, you know, not waiting too long in food and beverage queues, toilets, you name it.
I get everyone's experience. I know my experience every time I come to the festival, but I'm curious to know about your experience every year. How is it different for you? How is every year different from the previous year?
Well, we started in 2007, and I think we probably had about 2,500 people. And we had kind of birthed Bushfire out of House on Fire. So we had got 7 years in House on Fire, and the idea was that we could expand our offering and put on a festival. Expand into the lawn and the area outside House on Fire, which we've done. And so we've gone from 2,500 people to over 20,000 people. So it's massive growth. And I often say, you know, you've got to imagine what it's like having 10 people over to your place for dinner and the preparation that goes into
Hectic, right?
Hectic, and I'm sure a lot of us kind of feel like, you know, did I really want to put myself up to this? But then you have the dinner with those 10 guests and it goes really nicely, and you think, wow, I should do this more often. So we have 20,000 people over to our place for the weekend. There's huge amount of
sold out festival,
commitment. It's sold out 10 years on the trot. But this is what we love to do, and you know, we want to improve every year, and that's the objective.
Maybe one other thing that I'm keen to know about, you know, let's speak about the business side or aspect of things, you know, more clients, more organizations, institutions, businesses keen of being partners of this biggest festival in Africa.
So we were in a very fortunate position to have a strong and established brand. It's taken us a long time to get there. So I would say for anybody in the creative sector or any business, you know, it does take time. You need to obviously put in the work. You need to have that unique selling point, the USP. It needs to be driven by passion. You need to have a business model. It needs to be sustainable. You know, we've learned all of these things along the way. We didn't have an accounts department, for example, when we started. But we started nonetheless, and you know, here we are 17 years later with over 100 partners, and we've got to manage all those partnerships. You know, we want to make sure that there's a solid return on investment for these partners. So it's about making sure that the deliverables that we offer these partners actually happen, and you know, the devil's in the detail. If you present a sponsorship opportunity and then you're not delivering on what the MOU says,
you might not retain that sponsor, right?
You won't retain it. So, you know, I'm happy to say that we've got strong sponsorship retention, and that has everything to do with the festival sponsor relationship. Over 100 partners, you can imagine. You know, and then there are the artists, and then there's service providers, It's a really big beast. It's a big animal. I must say our team's grown exponentially over the years. And we've got a really strong team. It's a local team.
And I like the fact that, there's so many young and old people that benefit from the entire system, people getting employed. There's so much that happens out here. But for someone, an aspiring, festival director, they want to start their own thing someday, direct a festival of this magnitude. They're asking themselves, what is your routine, or what do you get up to in the 3 days? I'm personally curious to know, on a Friday, the Saturday, I know you're tired right now, but what is it that you do? What do you make sure is done, in terms of, making sure everything is done properly as planned?
Well, I think just going back to your initial question, I think for any aspiring festival director, you need to have a unique selling point. It's got to be more than entertainment for entertainment's sake. You've got to have something that sets you apart. So what is your identity? Make sure that you have that unique position, because there's so many other people doing it. You know what I mean? So what sets you apart?
Okay.
You need to have a good business model, and you can learn that along the way. That requires a lot of input, a lot of failing along the way. It is a process. It's about engaging people in the industry to share best practice, or at least kind of receive information and experience that they've had. Always put yourself forward to learn, take opportunities, internships, get out there, extend yourself. I think that's really important. Coming back to what I do on the weekend, at this stage it's really about management and making sure that all the teams it's all happening. We pre-rehearsed all of this, making sure that we keep to our timelines. Dealing troubleshooting, and you can imagine when you've got kind of over 100 acts coming in, the logistics and the things that can crop up with people missing their flights or visa issues that we hadn't kind of accounted for.
Getting them accredited too, when they get you.
There are so many things that can come up, and so it's about managing the broad array of issues that Bushfire presents. But I tell you what, we have so much gratitude for where we are, what we do every year, and kind of gathering people. I also want to acknowledge that Bushfire does amazing things for what we call the creative economy. And in 2017, we had the University of the Northwest come in and conduct an audit of the festival economy around Bushfire. And back then, they said we generated around about 50-60 million.
Wow.
I think in fast forward to 2024, that's probably looking like over 100 million.
I saw that report too,
So, I always like to say, it's really important to acknowledge that Bushfire has this really positive ripple effect on the economy. The woman selling tomatoes down in Matlanya, the taxi driver, somebody selling their art, fuel,
so
accommodation.
Many people benefit from the system,
It's massive. This is something that benefits Emaswati.
Even internationals too.
Totally. It puts us on the map. And I just think it's a very positive force, Our call to action, Bring Your Fire, speaks to a collective response for positive social change. So we actively engage a range of issues and themes every year in the advocacy space, sexual health, climate, sustainability, education, pushing all of these things forward through the Schools Festival, the Arts Roundtable, which is music industry development workshop. So it's a very keen and there's a lot of intent to use the transformative power of the arts for the change that we would like to see, particularly within the creative sector. And we're looking to roll out a range of projects and workshops through the course of the year that support more continuity, because you have these festival events that happen over a weekend and they're amazing. But then what? How do you sustain that magic? How do you create structures and platforms, what's the word I'm looking for? Certification, where people can learn, develop trades that can then be used, at the festivals, but also in other creative spheres.
Yeah, Jiggs, it's been great. Tomorrow's the final day. We might have you again, on our broadcast. It's been good having you today and giving us an update or follow-up as to how things are so far in the festival. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Take the malakwane to Imbabane.
I like the fact that now you speak a bit of Siswati. The last time I did this with you, there was just, less of it. But, thank you so much for being with us today. Well, that is our guest today, Jiggs Thorne, taking us through what, the second day of the festival looks like. It's been good for him, good for me, and hopefully, everyone out there having fun, the music, the lifestyle, everything happening here, guys. I hope that you guys are having fun. And more importantly, I like the fact that it's just an ecosystem that benefits a whole lot of people, young, old, business people. You